I'm
Seriously.
a veteran of foreign wars, Army.
Which foreign wars?
I was stationed in Korea, but I saw combat and I did mine sweeps and ambush patrols. He got shot at and shot back. This was back in when Bush Senior was a senator.
1956.
No, this was 81.
81. So yeah, what year were you born?
I was born in 62.
62. So you're my age. So was that a police action in Korea or what?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes,
How long did that go on?
it's still going on to this day. We still got people over on the DMZ border watching the border. We still got a bunch of our military people are over there.
How effective do you think that was?
Well, when I was there, it was pretty harsh. I I I, I saw a lot of stuff that never even got in the papers in the United States. You know what I mean? The shooting our spy planes down and sending 100 tanks across the border and a bunch of other stuff. Never even got into the news.
How'd you feel about that?
I didn't like it one darn bit because it was a bunch of bullpucky. It was all politics, a bunch of bull.
So was it different on the home front than it was over where you were?
Mhm.
You were seeing a totally different reality. And how did people greet you when you came back?
Actually, my parents picked me up at Fisherman's Wharf when I came back. They picked me up at Travis Air Force Base, and they took me to Fisherman's Wharf. And I was wearing my uniform, and I got spit on twice.
So what there was still like a resistance movement going on then
Oh yes, big time.
in the 80s?
In the 80s, big time.
That's close to the Iran Contra gate too,
Mhm.
that period of time.
Yeah.
Did you feel like your contributions were appreciated?
Not then. I did.
No.
I was very upset, man. I couldn't even eat my dinner. I was so upset.
How'd you cope with that?
But I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of the world. I did more by the age of 21 than most people dreamed about doing in their whole life. I jumped out of airplanes. I I rappelled out of helicopters. I was a sniper. I did all kinds of different things for the military.
Can I ask you a loaded question?
Hmm.
How do you feel about our presence in other countries?
Actually, in a lot of them, I don't care about us being there on a lot of different stances. But I feel sorry for a lot of our guys that are still left overseas, that are still over in there. My brother, my oldest brother, is a lieutenant colonel, retired lieutenant colonel. He flew Apache helicopter in the Gulf War and Desert Storm. He came out a war hero, and more power to him. He was a lifer. I wasn't. I only put in 4 years. He put in 30 years. I only put in 4 years, but that was my choice. But my brother was a totally different story. He he came back. He, his family means more to him than anything right now, and it should be for most veterans. Their family should be more to them than anything. But a lot of our veterans are coming back that have no hope. I mean,
When did he retire?
hmm?
When did your brother retire?
My brother retired 4 years ago.
So what was his experience different from yours?
He saw more combat than I did. He saw all combat basically. Mine was a little different than my brother's. A lot different.
Different arena of war.
Yeah.
Different politics.
Different politics.
How do you think, how are newer service members coping with what they, I mean, you were probably kind of in a different era in our history. What's the difference? I mean, how were you impacted by your experience?
I was impacted greatly, actually. The stuff I saw, the things I did, the things the government made me do. It was, I really can't explain it.
What do you regret?
What do I regret? The only thing I regret is firing a trigger at some kid. I shot a kid, probably about 17 years old, on the DMZ border when I was a sniper. 16, 17-year-old kid, wasn't much older than me. I was 20.
What went through your mind?
I was ordered to shoot him, and I shot him. And I shouldn't have.
What could you have done?
It was an order, so I had to follow an order. That's all I know. I was just following orders.
That sounds like it's really different for you shooting a 16-year-old, or shooting an adult.
Nah, just shooting anybody. I don't, it's when you have to do it, when you got to look down that barrel, that scope, and you got to shoot somebody, it's totally different than going out and shooting deer or whatever. I've been a hunter my whole life. I've been deer hunting, I've been fishing my whole life. I love it. Used to. Now I'm on oxygen and I can't get out and move around much. But it's just a totally different experience.
I mean, because you represent your country when you do it.
Oh yeah. I represent my country every day. I love my country.
Do you feel like people give you the respect that you earned?
Actually, there's a lot of people out there that respect us veterans, and they thank us quite often. And I say thank you very much for their respect every time they say thank you for your service, which happens probably, I'd say 2 or 3 times a week.
How do people know you as a veteran?
Then I wear hats and different things. Coats and hats and vests and things. I'm proud of being in the Army. I'm proud to serve with my country. But there's just, like I said, there's just a lot of things that I do not agree with our government. I didn't have anything when I got out in '83. I never had nothing to do with our government. I was so pissed off at our government. And how you doing?
Well, what angered you the most?
Pardon?
What angered you the most in 1983?
The way my career ended, I got court-martialed. I beat up an officer in Korea who had it coming. And I got broken down from an E5 to an E1. And when I got shipped to my next duty station, the NCOs there kept messing with me. And one night I just beat the holy crap out of 2 of them in my room.
What were they trying to do to you? Why were they
Disgrace me. They're just being idiots. Drunken idiots. But anyways, that was a long time ago.
You've always heard, like, you always. I was in the service briefly, not very long. My brother's a lifer, but you always hear that there's that difference between enlisted and officer class.
Mhm.
There's different feeling about their roles.
Oh yeah, big time. There's a lot different feeling there. Like I said, my brother's a colonel, retired colonel, and I was just an NCO.
So,
Well,
how'd you get by when you got home? Were you able to use your skills, your training?
No, I used my God-given skills that I was taught when I was younger. I've been in construction for 40-something years after I got out of the service here in Astoria. I've been in construction for almost 41 years here in Astoria. Sheetrocker, painter, roofer, you name it. I could build houses. I used to be able to do it all. I just can't do it anymore. My body's shot. That's why I'm on disability.
Did you have to fight to get disability?
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
8 years. Took me 8 years fighting the government to get my disability.
Did they give you back pay?
Nope, they stole all my back pay.
So
All of my back pay they stole.
You had to appeal 2 or 3 times
Appeal it 2 or 3 times, more than that.
every year.
Every year and a half I had to appeal, basically. It took me, like I said, over 8 years to get my disability.
There was no way they could look at you for your experience, your service as a veteran, and qualify you.
Nope. The government on that end of the deal with our SSI and disability is a stinker. I mean, it takes a lot. There's a lot of people out there fighting that need it as much as I do, if not more, and can't get it and not getting it.
How low did you fall during that period? Were you always have housing, or you ever spend time?
No, I was on the street most of my life. Been living in vehicles and living in vans, trucks, whatever, to support myself. When I got out, I came up here and I met a lady, and we got married, and I raised her 2 kids. I had 2 stepsons, and it was a great experience, but it was really hard. It was really hard on me getting into a pre-made family, but I supported all of them, and I loved them, and still love them. My wife's dead, but my kids are still around.
At what point did you end up living in your vehicle and on the street?
After my wife died, I was on the streets approximately close 15, 18 years, living in vehicles.
What did you learn from that?
What did I learn from that? It's cold. It's very freaking cold.
Or maybe your military experience prepared you for that.
I could lay on the ground in an ambush patrol for 4 to 5 days in the cold. I had to.
Free as cold.
That's very, very cold. Very, very cold. And my Army career taught me how to survive better than my grandfather or my dad taught me in the woods and this and that through the years. Taught me how to fight, taught me how to shoot better, taught me a lot of different things. Many different things.
What's the thing you value most out of your experience?
My pride. I think my pride.
That makes you a real individual.
Yeah, I think my pride in has kept me alive and kept me going through thick and thin. I take handfuls of medication every day. it's not pretty, not a pretty sight. What it does to your body, my liver and kidneys are killing me from all the medications I'm taking and this and that. But I still got to do what I got to do.
Do you feel like the doctors are taking care of you?
Doctors take care of me pretty much. It just takes a long time sometimes to get into an appointment or whatever. That's why I have to use the hospital or other means lots of times because luckily I do have health insurance. And but it does take a little while sometimes to get into the VA.
It seems to me sometimes that service members aren't, or sometimes they blend into the background and they're not always, like maybe more could be done to honor what you've contributed.
I just like them to start honoring a lot more people that need honoring, and there's so many people out there right now that are dying every day because they're killing themselves because of nobody listens.
You mean with addiction?
With their addictions and just coming back from I have PTSD really bad, and some of these guys, some of these ladies and men coming back have PTSD so bad that they think their life is over. They can't. A lot of them can't live with a lot of stuff that went on in their life, and they don't know how to deal with it mentally.
So where are they at?
A lot of them are dead.
By their own hand, or drug addiction, or overdose?
Drug addiction or suicide. A lot of them suicide.
What do you think could be done to change that?
That's a good question, my friend. Good question.
Sometimes it feels like people are disposable. Once they've done their job, they're done with.
The government has been releasing people early so they don't have to pay them the 20 years or the how many years or whatever. The government is releasing people early so they can't get their mandatory 20 years or 25 years or 26 years, whatever it is. And that's what irks me.
It's disrespectful.
Very disrespectful.
Because it seems like if you're doing your duty, you want to do your duty to your fullest and not just be cut off.
And that's what they're doing to a lot of veterans. They're cutting them off and letting them go home early without getting their retirement in, and that's a bunch of baloney.
Do you think the experience, from what you could see, is worse with some of the people coming out of Afghanistan and Iraq?
I've seen a lot. I've seen Vietnam veterans. I've got a lot of Vietnam veterans friends of mine. They are the most worst treated. But our Iraqi and Afghanistan veterans got treated better than any of our Vietnam War veterans ever did.
Well, I think at the time, society was really, poised against those guys. They weren't given good reception back home.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was like that in World War I too, wasn't it? There were a lot of people who came back who were really broken. And
all the wars, basically. Yeah. It's a sad story on a lot of the parts of a lot of people I've seen. I had this one friend of mine came back from Vietnam, and he was 9 years older than I am, and came back with Agent Orange cancer, and he was a 300-pound man, 6'3", 300 pounds. And I used to lift him up out of bed darn near with one hand at the end before he died. Nah, that's bad way to go, counter.
That would really challenge your sense of hope to see.
Yeah, he was a good friend of mine.
Do you ever think of if you could had a moment to talk to our leaders, what you would say?
Not really.
You know,
Not really. I'm not much of a talker. I'm a doer. I've always been a doer, not a talker.
I appreciate you sharing your experience, because people don't usually get to hear that. You have to take the time to stop and listen and talk to somebody, and
Yeah, no problem.